The following video shows depictions of underage cartoon characters with heavy amounts of fan service. Viewer discretion is advised. Yeah, this is going to be one of those videos, and I have quite the video for quite the take on today. But before, a big shout out to my friend Purloin, who actually made the video possible. So if you're watching this, Queen Purloin, which I know you will, I want you to know I want to thank you so much for making this video possible. So on with the video. Today we're going to be looking at one of the more controversial users we're going to be discussing today, though. Yes, more controversial than Loud Convoy, more controversial than Hopeless Peaches, and yes, even Star Giant Productions. Now, for those who are wondering who am I talking about today, we're going to be taking a look at RaydonXD, a user who is quite infamous around the community that serves around fan service. Now, I must stress enough though, this is one user I definitely did not expect myself to take part of, but I've been requested this since 3 months ago, and ever since then, it was pretty much a guarantee to actually cover this user. Now, I had no idea who this user was, nor did I even know what I was getting myself into. But judging by the description of the video that you're going to be looking at today, that's saying a lot, especially for what's about to come today, though, when it gets right down to it, though. Now, for those who are wondering who RaydonXD is, well, he's basically a user who goes by this name for showing NSFW work. I say this as in somebody who actually knows for a fact this is going to be a heavy topic, so if this is something that you don't want to see, there's your warning there. And honestly, I don't really want anyone to proceed watching this because, well, if you're under 18 and everything, this guy is creepy in so many aspects of the level that I don't even want to think about for myself included, though. One thing's for sure, though, when doing research on this user, which took a hell of a lot longer than I expect to have, though, it's really one of those cases where I did not know what I was getting myself into. Right here and there. For those who don't know, RaydonXD is one of those users who goes by the name there, and as you can tell, his content is pretty much pretty bad. And I say this as somebody who doesn't really want to be associated by any of this content from what I'm triggering right here, though. On screen now, I'm showing you about his channel, and what you can definitely tell, it's not very good right here and there. But what makes this user so infamous for those who are known to have some kind of fan service, though. Now, I'm not one to judge when it comes to fan service. But what I do know is that this guy is completely horrendous. Let me edited its chapters. So one thing's for sure though, fan service is, like I said, I don't even want to judge for myself because it's really depends on the execution of what it is, though. Now, anyone who's seen my Kill a Kill podcast would probably already know. Though I will say though, it comes as no surprise that I did talk about fan service though when I did that Kill a Kill video. Oh, and when I did my Kill a Kill video, I talked about how I said that this series has fan service and how it can be executed pretty well if a Magical Girl podcast would probably already know what I'm talking about anyways, because from what I can tell from the podcast I've said in there, it doesn't really do much justice when it comes right down to it, though. Now, as I said before, Kill is far from having something like this, though. But what's different from that series, along with this here, guys, that's supposed to be taken as serious as possible with the battles. But when it comes to fan service like Raydon XD, I don't even know what to think about it at first glance. It makes me one of the reasons why I try my best to avoid content like this. I mean, sure, I know some people are gonna say to me, "Oh, you're just being paranoid, Flamingo. It's nothing too serious or anything like that. Even if that was the case, tell you this already though. Now part of me wants to wonder how did he get away with this because cartoon characters. Before you say anything, let's be honest. A lot of us have uh, things that cartoon characters that I bet a lot of us had cartoon crushes on one point in our childhood. But during our childhood, we're kind of naive at that time, though. I mean, hell, even as adults, we have to be careful of who we though, because if we don't, chances are it's gonna become over the language. So yeah, if you want to be Pennsylvania, different from other people's countries or whatever they have though, but the age of consent from here from where I'm from is 16 years or older. So yeah, when maybe some people may think it's cute and all, but here I'm going is like thumbnails for yourself, which yeah, the thumbnails themselves are absolutely horrendous to look at. It's really no surprise that a lot of people who've talked about this user, although there are only very few in particular, a lot of them show the exact same things you're going to see in a lot of cartoon characters, though, which are mostly around female characters. Like, say, Hazbin Hotel, we got Charlie, Ben 10, we got Gwen Tennyson. Guy just loves to sexualize underage characters. And honestly, it's not pretty when you get right down to it. So let's provide a little more. That's what I was about to say, though. So as I said before, cartoon crushes are nothing new. I mean, let's be honest. At one point, we do have cartoon crushes, both as kids and as teenagers, but times even as adults. Now, I myself don't want to talk too much about this incident alone, but what gets to me about this incident is how much it scars me to the point that where I have to ask myself, am I really seeing this? Look, I'm all for having people who have cartoon character crushes every now and then, and that's fine. Cartoon character crushes are nothing new, though. But what is really bothersome is how these characters, most of them, are underage. So, around, like, say, under 18. I mean, I'll be damn straight with you. It's not anything I want to talk about like that, though. But considering that RaydonXD is quite pure thing though, yeah, I don't want to provide too much into that. And for that matter alone, I don't even think that this does raise a bunch of questions doing because honestly though, it's really come to the point where I have to trust enough. I did not expect myself to see what was going on there though. I mean, I over my head probably when I say that this is not okay, but I know some people who actually talk about this in was though. I mean, aside from being around cartoon characters, and I know some people are gonna say to me that they're just cartoon like that. Even with that said, however, you have to once like the girls themselves would be traumatized as fuck here, like more so than the anime this guy has for itself, though. So my question because as far as I can tell, if someone else did this, they probably get a community guideline strike after this. Now, I'm not saying that everyone, although I have seen people who have it, but they usually have that as a warning, like make sure they don't do it again. But when it comes to something like this, something that date other characters who are sexualized with big giant boobs inside. That is the definition of showing how much this guy really does not seem to give two shits about what happens, though, because it seems to me that every time he goes around does this shit, he doesn't seem to care. And some time era. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know any of these users in personal terms, so I wouldn't know what he's like. But if this is anything that he fetishizes and anything to judge by, then it's that, and a lot of them are from kids shows. I haven't watched any of the videos, but okay, let's get on to the next chapter because this is something I really need to discuss right here and now. So, fair warning, there will be heavy topics here, and yeah, yeah, just proceed if you will then. When it comes to having characters, or in this case, real life depictions of underage characters that are from cartoon characters, I myself already know that there's something I need to address right here and now. A lot of people tell me that cartoon characters are not the same as real life people, and you might well say that, but as somebody who's been sexualized or groomed, this bothers me to no avail. Like, to more an extension on that, though, some people would say that this is one of the definitions of what happens when a cartoon character gets fetishized. But I don't want to speak too much about fetishes on this chapter that much, so let's discuss about fetishes for a little bit on this chapter. Now, one thing's for sure though, when it comes to having fetishes, I don't think it's a big bet when it comes right down to it. Not all of them are going to be unhealthy. Though that said, however, fetishes can be weird at times. Like how I say about RaydonXD. He usually uses cartoon characters to put them into big boobs or something like that. You do realize that some of these characters are under 18, right, Raydon? I mean, I don't really know how he stayed on YouTube for this long, but by the time of this recording, he has over 230K subs, and I don't even know how we got that many subs though. Though to be honest though, I think only 2,000 of them may have unsubbed to him because the last time I checked, he had 232K subs, and after that, when researching for him before this video, he had 231K. Yeah, it makes me wonder why did they sub to him in the first place if he was gonna do this shit. And it doesn't stop there, people. Most of the time when he does this shit, it really borderlines into saying this guy has some serious problem with having some characters with flat chests or something like that. Now, female characters are nothing new when it comes to having fan service if you watch anime like I do, but at least to an extension, this almost reminds me of another series called Aiken. For those who don't know, Aiken was once an anime that lasted 2 episodes. Gee, I wonder why. And as such, though, they had mostly teenage girls that had big sized boobs because of fan service. Now, this could be just me being a crazy flamingo and everything, but when you realize how much this guy really loves to put underage stuff into his videos just so he can look like he's doing this, what's even worse is also the community posts themselves, though. Now, I shit you not, the community posts he actually put in here are horrendous to the point where you actually have to ask yourself, how do you not get a community and guideline strike for all of this joking? Most of the stuff that he puts on here are just not something I think I could put on screen too long. But if you want the a little note version of it, though, well, honestly, most of the stuff that he puts on here is just really disturbing. Hell, he even has Shell from The Road to El Dorado. Oh, come on, one of my favorite DreamWorks movies out there. And it doesn't stop there, my friends. So much of this is so borderline disgusting to the point where I still have to ask, how is this even necessary? Like, so many people could tell me that it's supposed to be funny or it's supposed to be lovable in some ways. But even if this guy was around girls, or in this case, girls that are under the limit or something like that, then I hate to see how those people are around him, though. Hell, I even don't even know if he ever has a girlfriend or something. Now, like I said, fetishes are not always having an unhealthy habit. Some people have habits of fetishes that can be when they were young. Like, say, when you're kids, they don't know what a fetish is, though. I mean, hell, I didn't know what a fetish was until I turned around my teen years. And even with that said, however, it still bothers me that this guy just does whatever the fuck he wants to in order to make his content look like it's nothing for perverts for perverts. That is the death nail of when it comes right down to it. When you make so much content into something that could have been like that, then chances are people are going to look at this and say to themselves, yeah, this is definitely a channel for perverts or anything like that. How did this guy not get striked? I have no idea because trust me, if I did something like that, which I would never do that. So if you guys are going to ask that, no, I wouldn't do this in the first place. But if I did this, hypothetically speaking, I it's safe to say you already know I would get a strike after that, and I would be accused of sexual harassment, grooming, or anything like that for intents and purposes, though. No doubt that this guy actually tries his best to try to be as safe as he can, but when looking at the comments, I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. I had no idea what the hell they were thinking about, though. Some of them were drooling, some of them were loving and all that stuff, and it was oh my god. I'm getting flashbacks to how Rebecca Starlight always cried to people about fetishes, and yet here I am talking about RaydonXD, another person like that. So let's get on to the next chapter because otherwise, yeah, I'm not gonna be pretty about what's gonna happen next. So in case you guys are wondering, why am I doing this here video? Well, it's mostly because, well, not only because I want to give a shout out and a mention to Queen Purloin because she made this video possible to make me do a take on, to have me do a take on her request, but it's also worth pointing out that this is also one of those cases that RaydonXD is one of the definitions of how YouTube is fucked up in some ways. And in other ways, it makes me question what does YouTube really have to offer, though, if you're going to do something like this? Even if you could make the argument that this wasn't meant to be made to be taken seriously, I hate to be that guy, but this is not something that anyone should look at, let alone any children who didn't so already, though. Even to people who watch cartoons like I do, we usually try our best to not go so far as to do stuff like this anyway. I mean, sure, you could make the argument that cartoon characters are meant to be, well, cartoon characters. But that said, however, what the fuck is this guy's problem with having characters like this is beyond me, though. Most of these characters he has are really just cartoon characters from different kids shows and occasionally, well, adult cartoons. Some of them revolve around Has Been Hotel, as you can tell from the profile picture, or American Dad characters, both of which actually had Lois and Francine, and sometimes Haley and Meg Griffith. You know, it's a bad sign when you realize that these characters, I know some of them are going to say, well, some of them are adults. Flamingo. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, is there? To that I say, I couldn't care less if the character was adult or not. Boobs just make me wonder what the hell with this guy thinking, though. And when it comes right down to it, though, it's really uncomfortable and disturbing. I said, but when it comes to something like this, especially with underage characters with a freaking adult, this is borderline has an adult children. And need I remind you again, the courts don't determine who's a what it is. And this guy go to court or something like that. Though I don't know what's he like in real life. For all I know, he could be jerking off under the camera when doing these here animation stills. But yeah, it's RaydonXD may not know me personally, but I will say though, when it comes to something like this, even though when you look at my own OC that I use a lot on my channel, I have a feeling that he may look at it and say, Flamingo writer. I wonder what I could do with her OC. Bastard, you better not be going after my OC because otherwise, yeah, I'd probably be throwing up right about now. Though I have to wonder how many people would say that, oh, but this is gonna about has to do a maybe another video and probably more before my 5th-year anniversary. I want to try to do I don't know or something like that. I don't know what I'll be doing, so don't ask in the comments though. But what I am gonna say is this: RaydonXD. I don't care two channels that have something like that. Oh, two channels, you say? The guy, because let's be honest, the second channel is nothing more but the same thing. You know, if you're gonna have a second channel, I don't have anything against people who do the same thing on that channel, but it makes me borderline of why do that in the first place when you just have the same thing going all over it again. Anyways, I think I've ranted enough about this guy. Hang on, my channel for about a while though. I used all of my energy for all I can with this video, and to make matters worse, fetish. Take on, but it's still one that makes me question what the fuck is up with YouTube, anyways. So, I guess with all that said, however, this is Flamingo Writer here, and the videos if you want to do for yourself about these take-ons. There's still more to come, which I have plenty enough on my folder as is, though, including a request I got a few days ago, which might well be my next one or something like that after I'm done with the last one I'll be doing, but it's gonna take a while though. So yeah, I do apologize if this video isn't anything like that, but RaydonXD, again, you really need to stay off the internet. It's pretty clear to me that you're really known to go after underage girls in that there before you say, oh, they're just cartoon characters. That doesn't really matter to me in the slightest. I think I'm done here. I'll see you guys around, and as always, stay flammable.